Greetings and welcome. This is Esports Machina coming back from a small hiatus, and today I'm going to talk about the rise of skill-based esports titles in 2017. And what do I exactly mean by a skill-based game? I mean a game that is designed by the developer to be either pure skill or close to 100% skill-based game that is only reliant on your intelligence and mechanics on the game, instead of RNG stuff like that you see in a lot of the top esports today, whether it's CSGO, Dota 2, League of Legends, Hearthstone, World of Tanks, Overwatch. All of those games have immense amount of RNG on their game design. Of course, you have few titles today like StarCraft, the fighting games like Smash and Tekken and Street Fighter that are actually almost pure like skill as well, because they don't have any RNG elements on them. But you see the separation between these titles that I mentioned is the fact that usually the game with higher RNG has the higher viewership, because it creates more inconsistent statistics on tournaments. It also creates upsets, and also the casuals will like the game because they have that occasional RNG chance to win a better player than themselves. I mean, I've sometimes played CSGO and I've sometimes got an ace even though I'm pretty shit, but that's just how the RNG played on that game. But let's talk about these three particular games that are coming out in 2017. And I've talked about this on my RNG and esports series. If you want to watch those two videos, please do so. But essentially, the kind of thing that I've noticed as I've researched all these games is the fact that the pure esports, the pure skill-based games haven't done so well. So you have a game like Battlerite Champions. That was a game that was actually somewhat popular at one point of a time, but it really kind of so-called shit the bed because it was a game that was only designed for very competitive people, and that it ended up into a situation that it had no casual base, and people who tried to get into the game were just stumped by, pro smurfs in the game. So essentially, it was a bit of a nightmare getting the new people to the game, and usually the casual audience is the one that spend the most money in the game, according to some people in esports, quote unquote. But essentially, we have three games. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the Quake Champions, and Quake has been, always somewhat solid esports title. The Quake cons have run 15 years or something like that. Maybe they started in 2002. I don't really remember right now, but it has been a long series and always had a very a loyal fan base. They are changing the thing a bit too this time because all the characters seem to have their own abilities. And based on what I've seen from the trailers and such, it does seem like it's pure skill. I mean, that's not how they advertise it. Of course, if there's going to be a drafting sequence or people can have the same character, then there's some type of a balance issue on the kind of the skill department of the game. I'm not necessarily saying that's RNG, but I don't know. But essentially, this is one of those games that could, do really well. I mean, the graphics are great, but is it going to be fun for, people who are not very good at the game? And what I really like about Quake Champions and the other game that I'm going to talk about in a second, Diabolical, is the guns that are really designed to be, very direct. It's like shooting a missile instead of a bullet, because bullet can go into pretty much every direction. You play I think CSGO is a really good example where guns, and Overwatch especially too, where the guns are really inconsistent where they shoot. And in games like Diabolical and Quake Champions, when you shoot that missile, you target it at one point on the map where your cursor is. That's where the fucking rocket is gonna hit, because there's no recoils and stuff like that in these type of games. They're very fast-paced, compact maps where you have different type of weapons which have very low recoils. But the reason why the weapons are so accurate is that because the game was designed that the characters can jump around a lot, so you're able to dodge these bullets and stuff like that. And that's really the beauty of it, because you can really, it's all about skill. It's not about I saw you first on the corner and I'm gonna one-shot you. It's not that type of a game. It's about pure speed, it's about pure skill, and it's about pure aim. And that is also the same thing with Diabolical. Of course, the art style is a bit different on this game, but they're mostly the same type of a design, type of a games. And I could really see Diabolical actually becoming a bit bigger game, because they have a lot of cool esports people behind it, like the Too Good Studio, and they of course have a lot of contacts in the industry. and also from the fact that they have designed the game to support really a lot of the esports elements, to my understanding, that you can customize your character to have like team logos, and then you can like have these like opening intros in the game. Once they enter the ceremony, you can like see team logos, you can have like sponsors on the map, and have this all type of customization kind of made for cater for like sponsors and esports itself. You kind of get that ad space, so to speak, on the map, on the game. And the last game I'm going to talk about is the successor of Bloodline Champions, and this is Battlerite. And Battlerite actually has sold like 250,000 copies right now, and I've been enjoying the game, and that's like one of like a arena game that is like purely skill. I mean, we have WoW Arena, but I don't know if I would want to even call that an esport at this point, but Blizzard wants to, obviously. But Battlerite is really, really like a good game. If you haven't played it, I really recommend doing so. I mean, it's going to be free to play once it releases, but I think what I touched upon earlier is the fact that Battlerite kind of has the same problem that Bloodline Champions is, because all the 250,000 people that are playing the game right now are going to be really sick at the game once it releases, when it goes to free to play. Right now it's in early access, so what's going to happen is it's going to create a situation where the people, basically the pros, are just going to smash all these new players that are coming into the game once it comes to free to play. So I'm a bit worried about that, how people will feel about just getting smashed on the game, just being bad. And some people just can't cope up with the idea that, I suck at this game, I'm really bad at this game. I don't really have a problem with that, at least for the majority of the games, and I kind of understand that, I have to put some hours into a game to become good. So I think Bloodline Champions is also like a game that can be heavily customized, like with whatever its in-game items, with esports or styling the arenas. Currently, a lot of the arenas, I don't see that they could like put a lot of logos in there or anything like that. But this is a company that previously, Bloodline Champions was very esports involved game, and I can totally see that they would, they're gonna like put on full-on support on that aspect of the game once it's ready and once it's out of release. I mean, and in terms of like viewership, these games are really fast, and the games are really fast-paced, and have a lot of things going on. And sometimes games like League of Legends or CSGO or Dota, these games can be way too long as the matches go, so it can be kind of boring to watch these type of games sometimes if they go like prolong. And these very action-based games, it's going to be very interesting to see them on esports, and hopefully, I've been personally suffering to wanting to watch something really, really good with a high production value and something really entertaining to watch. And sadly, I'm just not one of those people who can get excited just on every esports out there. But I'm just kind of really materializing my thoughts and concluding this video. Essentially, it's really interesting to see the developers doing these skill-based esports titles coming into 2017. And they can be successful, but I think they have to really, get the casual people really into the games as well, to really, really like cater to the audience, in my opinion, to get the money, the revenue, because that's when the casuals keep the money, the game afloat. And also, like, what is the business model? I'm not sure what Quake Champions going to be free to play? I don't know. And Battlerite is going to be free to play, and Diabolical is going to be, they don't have it decided yet, but they have like a low price point, $12 or something. So they has to have like a low dollar entry access fee too. And like Rocket League, and Rocket League is also skill. It's 100% skill-based game, and it's a really funny to see a game that can be so funny and be like purely on skill. I mean, only RNG in the games, I guess, to spawn locations where the cars start in the beginning, but aside from that, it's a skill. And thanks for watching this video. I'm trying to come on making these videos a lot more bi-daily. I have few topics that I'm working on, and I would of course always appreciate comments and having just a discussion about this. Do you feel that need more RNG type of or pure skill type of esports games? And are you going to watch these three aforementioned games, and what your hopes are, and blah blah blah. Anyhow, but I'm going to wrap it up here, and thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Cheers.